Hello, my namaskaram to all of you. I am Anandhakrishnan PP. First of all, I have to thank you all for one thing. That is, I uploaded a video nearly 20 days ago in Malayalam, and the responses were encouraging. Still, the response is encouraging, and many of you have viewed it and subscribed it. So once more, let me thank you. We will be discussing today Indian philosophy or Hinduism in a different perspective. That is, the topic under consideration is Hinduism or Indian philosophy in a different perspective. What does philosophy mean? Philosophy tries to find out the truth. It is a truth-finding mission. It is a truth-finding mission. We all know that Indian philosophy is based on Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and also there are Puranas, etc. there. The Upanishads are based on Vedas, and we all know that there are 4 Vedas. They are Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. These are the 4 Vedas. And Upanishads are Upanishads or Vedantas. It is also called Vedantas. Vedantas means ultimate of Vedas. So, in Vedantas or Upanishads, we can see pure philosophy. We can see pure philosophy. And also in Brahma Sutra as well as Bhagavad Gita. In these 3 things, 3 writings, we can see the pure philosophy. So, we all know that these scriptures, these Hindu scriptures, were given to us by great sages or rishis of ancient age. The Upanishads try to find out answers to certain questions. The questions are: what is the cause of the phenomenal world with its animate as well as inanimate things? And then the second question: why we live like this? Or what makes us to live like this? And the third question is, after death, what happens? So these questions tested the thoughts of ancient rishis or ancient thinkers. And these sages of the ancient period thought about it, meditated on the subject, and discussed among themselves to find out the answers to these 3 questions. See, what we see in this phenomenal world. On earth we know various types of animal beings are there, human beings are there, and a variety of plants, millions of plants. And also, in the morning sun rises, and in the evening it sets. We know why day and night occurs. And also, seasons also change. That is, summer season comes, then rainy season comes, then winter season comes, and the like. So, and also, at night, if we look at the sky, unlimited number of stars shine there. It appears as if somebody has glued sparks of fire on a canvas in the blue sky. So all these things were wonders. So naturally, everybody will ask these questions. Everybody will think, what is the cause behind this? What is the cause behind this phenomenal world with its animate as well as inanimate things? So, the rishis of ancient time thought about it, meditated on it, and discussed among themselves, and ultimately found out that there exists a supreme entity, a supreme spirit, which is called Brahman. So this Brahman creates, maintains, and it dissolves everything. So the concept of Brahman came to exist. Then they also found out that, or they also concluded that Brahman himself exists in every being in the form of a soul. Brahman exists in every being in the form of a soul. So, they concluded that there is no difference between the soul, which is in us, and the Brahman or the Supreme Spirit. See, what makes us to live like this? We are born and we live for some years in happiness and sorrows. Sorrows being more a painful life we are leading. Much toils and tribulations, much suffering, and happiness is very little. And then dotage comes when even we cannot move. Movement becomes impossible and we become bedridden. And some people, of course, remain bedridden and urinate and shit in the bed itself. What a sorrowful state. And then comes death. And what happens after death? The ancient rishis thought about the problem very seriously and found out that when the soul takes birth, it takes a body. So the embodied soul identifies with the body And the man, that is this embodied soul, is conditioned by the sensory organs. So we are controlled by senses. As a result, what happens? We cannot understand what is the real self. We don't understand that the Brahman himself resides in us in the form of a soul. So we do not understand it because of the ignorance created by the body as well as the five senses. So what the Rishis say, what the Upanishads say is that we have to liberate ourselves from this toils and tribulation, this sorrowful life, this birth, sorrowful life, then death, and again, as the soul is imperishable, it is taught that, it is believed that the soul is imperishable, it is permanent. But it takes bodies, it takes birth and accepts bodies, and again, what happens? A sorrowful life, dotage, death. So this process continuously goes on. Birth, life, death, again the soul takes birth. So if we want to liberate ourselves from this phenomena, we have to find out what is the real self of ours. So, and then after understanding ourselves, the real self in us, we should, through meditation, etc., attain the God. We should try to get absorbed into the Brahman or the Supreme Spirit. This will put an end to all the toils and tribulations, the sorrowful life. If it is done, if we attain the Brahman or the Supreme Spirit, then there won't be birth and death. We will escape from the cyclical procedure of the process of the death, birth, again death. From this phenomena, we will be liberated. So, how to find out the real self in us? The Upanishads gives us certain devices or certain ways and means to understand ourselves, to understand the real self existing in us, and how to attain God. Certain devices are, of course, given by them. That is meditation, a worship of God, and devotion, etc. Now, we have to find out what is the truth. So this is the, what I said now is the gist of the philosophy, Indian philosophy or Hinduism. And this concept, the concept of Brahman, the Supreme Spirit, the concept of soul, and the concept of birth, life, and death, and how we can get liberated from this cyclical phenomena of birth, some years life, and then death. This is the and also it says that we should understand ourselves. That is, we should realize that the self in us, and then we should try to get absorbed into the Brahman or the Supreme Spirit. So this is the gist of Indian philosophy. Now, we have to examine from what we see in this universe, in this phenomenal world, whether there exists such a power. Again, all these phenomena, that is the phenomenal world, with its animate as well as inanimate things, and also we got to find out whether there is a soul, whether there is life after death, whether can we attain the God, that is moksha. So these concepts, three concepts, that is the Supreme Spirit, concept of Supreme Spirit, that is Brahman, and then the soul, that is Atman, it is called Atman, the soul, and then moksha, that is the liberation from the cycle of birth and death. We will discuss it in detail in the next session. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all for listening my speech. Kindly go through this video, then subscribe it, share it, and thus bless me. Once more I thank you. In the next session, we will be discussing the concept of Brahman, the Supreme Spirit, the concept of soul, that is Atman, and the concept of liberation, that is moksha. Thank you once more.